whatever milestones that Black people make against hate, it ends up benefiting all the other people of color. I can't see what his end game is. The Republican Party is the party of racism, is the party of white supremacy, is the party of hate. This is wrong, and it needs to stop.
Everybody wants to go back and drag that piece of history up, but they don't want to go back and deal with what their ancestors did to the indigenous people and to Black people in this country. You got to go. And you got billionaires talking about going to space and Jeff Bezos. Go! Never come back. I hope you get lost. This man has lost his mind.
Boom! Come on, girlfriend.
Whatever milestones that Black people make against hate, it ends up benefiting all the other people of color. I can't see what his end game is. The Republican Party is the party of racism, is the party of white supremacy, is the party of hate. This is wrong, and it needs to stop.
Everybody wants to go back and drag that piece of history up, but they don't want to go back and deal with what their ancestors did to the indigenous people and to Black people in this country. You got to go. And you got billionaires talking about going to space and Jeff Bezos. Go! Never come back. I hope you get lost. This man has lost his mind.
Boom! Come on, girlfriend.
Hey, are we on?
Yes, Dr. Vibe, you're going to have to do the intro all over again because you were muted the whole time. You're still muted, Dr. Vibe.
Can you not hear us? You're muted.
Am I muted?
You were muted the whole time you did the intro.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're having some technical difficulties on the back end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask how both you ladies are doing, and I'll be back in about 20 seconds.
Okay. Well, how are you, Aisha?
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah. How was your week?
Mine was good. Hi, everybody. How are you? Hope you had a great week and a good weekend, actually. Hope you're having fun. I'm okay. Just there's still a lot of pollution and stuff like that going on here. And I haven't really been doing too much other than cleaning my house today. It needed it. So I have to do that.
That's me tomorrow.
Yeah.
So Aisha, how you been?
Good.
Happy birthday belated.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Yes.
I had a really good day.
Tell us
Your
what
hair
happened.
looks great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I did my hair. It's the first thing.
Big admission.
And then I read a book, and my mother brought me lunch to my apartment, and I just sat and I read a book. That's all I did. And it was so quiet and so peaceful.
That's
and it was
nice.
intentional.
Wonderful. What is beautiful? Did your daughter get you anything?
Her presents. She came home this weekend.
Oh, very
Yeah.
nice.
And my family celebrated my birthday last Sunday. We had dinner at my mother's house.
Oh,
Right.
that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. Well, want to say welcome to Cinnamon, Black Beauty, Jen, Chris, all you already here. So you know that they're ready for you. They're waiting for you. We didn't do anything last week. Jill was not feeling well, and it took her a few days to overcome. So Jill, we're happy that you're back. I'm sorry. Do you want to tell what was going on with you?
Yeah, I just had a sore throat for about 4 days. And yeah, I typically get it, funny enough, around September and October and lose my voice. And then I guess it's laryngitis, and it always happens. It didn't happen last year, though, during COVID. It was I think because everybody was masked up. But we have a lot of fires going on, and I think it just adds to, it got a little cooler at night, and it was like 106 degrees in the day. And
hold on, does the temperature ever go down in California? Like, as long as I've known, we've had you on, Jill, I haven't heard any
all the time.
Like, it's hot.
Most of the time now, unfortunately, it's gotten like that, and but it is cooler now. I think it's like 67 or 68, but that's really normally will be hot through October for sure. We're not done with the heat waves, and then gosh knows we've had our little share of earthquakes lately. So that's another thing that's going on, and that's always baffling because a tornado and hurricane, you can get in your cellar in a tornado and a hurricane, whatever. You can leave. You get advance notice. Earthquakes are really tricky. Although we do have an advanced system that was called Shake Alert, and while it didn't send me a notification,
Shake Alert.
My husband got the alert 10 seconds before it supposedly happened, but we didn't feel it because it didn't hit us. But it said earthquake 4.7, 10 seconds. And
that's a lot of time to prepare.
Yeah, right. So,
10 seconds.
What do you do?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
wow.
But yeah, having a cold, because you get a little nervous with the whole COVID thing going on, and when I didn't seem to have any other ailments other than just this fatigue in the throat, I was like, I'm probably okay. But really, it was very painful. So thank you for asking. And thank you guys. I'm sorry. I apologize for not being able to
come on. Health is more important than any of these things. Come on now. Come on. That's just more important than any of this stuff. We're just happy that you're healthy.
Thank you.
That's the most important thing. And the family is too. So they're all waiting for all the stuff that you guys are going to talk about. And I tell you, we have a long roll call tonight, folks. So just FYI, there is no cockroach for this episode, but I'm sure one will come up during the conversation. Usually one or two do come up, but we didn't identify one. But
one or two come up.
Only one.
So funny.
Only one or two. One, two come up. The 1, 2 come up. All right. Well, let's get it going. Number one on it, the Haitian immigration crisis at the U.S. border. This ain't looking good.
No. The video is very disturbing.
Yeah.
It harkened back to an overseer on a plantation whipping slaves. That is exactly what it looked like. And this happens under Joe Biden's watch. Mm-hmm. Now, we know that he's not in control of the day-to-day of everything. However, the White House needs to come out with a stronger statement in a plan of action, because to say we're going to do an investigation, well, look how long these investigations take place in this country. And in the meantime, you have shipped people back to a country where there is no asylum for them, where it's in political unrest. It would be the same as if those of us who couldn't stand living under Trump fled to Canada, and Canada was like, oh no, you got to go back.
Right.
And that is pretty much what this country is doing. And it's even more so, it's even more disturbing because here we brought in a ton of Afghan refugees.
Okay.
And here we don't let in the Black and brown refugees, migrants below the border. We're good at flying them in, and you have to remember the reason that we're in Afghanistan and all those wars has nothing to do with 9/11. It's about the oil. So that is what we're looking at here, and it's an abuse of power. Those people at the border, and each one of them should be in jail.
Jill, thoughts?
Well, I mean, seeing as how this came through Texas, we do know that North Dakota, don't forget the things that were put in place to prevent this. And that was, it's under Abbott's watch, number one. The Haitians were under the bridge. So this was really all Abbott's doing. And Naomi, the governor from North Dakota or South Dakota, sorry, whichever one I'm wrong about, because I don't know which state she represents, but the worst one is what she represents. So that, all of that, but what that bothers me, because it really begs the question. We all were very much against that lineup of having different guards and paid mercenaries to go down there and work this. And it just looks like nothing ever got done with that. And the White House wasn't listening, because here we are. And they can't be Homeland Security and allow mercenaries to pull rank on them, because that's what they did. It makes us look incredibly weak, horrendous. It just is so disgusting. It did harken back to the slave patrols during slavery. And, you know, what was so weird about this too, normally I jump and leap really quickly at the beginning of something. And this time I sat back and watched, and I shared a video of it on Instagram, and I got threatened with losing my account. I got a message from them that if you have violated community violations, and we see that there might be more violations, and if you do it again, you're gonna lose your account. So it was on somebody else's wall, and I had taken it, but I had put like Sly and the Family Stone song to it. But what happened is I got really like, what the heck? And in my version, the different thing that I edited in, I said, look at these men whipping these people. And then they sent me a fact checker. Our fact checker from the such and such business said that, says that whipping never occurred and blah. Then it goes into explain, learn more. And you know what's really weird about the things that come in from Instagram? They disappear right after. Nothing stays in your inbox from them, so you can screenshot when they're reprimanding you. So I took a few days on that, and fortunately, because they said it was from fake news outlets. And finally, I waited 2 days, and I got that picture from all the major news. Yeah, Instagram has fact checkers. I said, you need to get fact checkers that are over the age of 7 that would know. And I was really quite nasty about it, because I said, how dare you? And then I sent them a picture of a guy. There was a guy with an actual like stick. Yeah. And when I used to get a whipping when I was a child, I had to break this down to Instagram. Mm-hmm. When I got you're going to nitpick me over the act of whipping because they didn't use a whip like a BDSM club that you've gone to, or a whip that Zorro had. They were whipping with the reins, and don't try to front this. So that's what my issue was. When I got whipped, my grandmother used a switch, as she called it, from the tree. It was a switch. Now try to tell that to a Gen Z or a millennial or a Gen Xer. Do they even know? Well, you're a Gen Xer, but like they know what a switch is. You say a switch, they'll think it's a light switch. No, I know. And I was being whipped. So, that pissed me off, because this is a really critical thing to say that Haitian lives matter too. And they deleted it. They took it off of my sites. And we have a huge problem. Kamala Harris was less than forthcoming about, I don't know. Is she asleep or something when they come up to her on the news thing? She needs to be a little bit more with it and alert, because she was like, it's just terrible. Well, I could give those whole platitudes that she's giving. And then she, I don't know, was supposed to be on The View the other day and everybody had COVID and she did the interview from backstage, I suppose. But I don't even watch that stuff anymore. Turned it right off. I was like, there's something really going on, and it's going on wrong with the administration right now. And I don't know what it is. I can't quite put my finger on it. I know what the hopes and dreams are, but they really don't know how to get the GOP from having on their balls. Because the thing is, even the letters that you get from Nancy Pelosi, Adam Schiff, all of them, all of the emails and newsletters are fear tactics. They're like, they're really getting close to us. You got to give us more money. No, I told you what I told you. You're not getting another dime from me because what you squandered of all our money before, get your own money out of your pocket and you put up the money. Screw that. Because they've been a lackluster Congress, dead in the water before it even started. And I'm sorry, somebody should have found some dirt out on Kristen, whatever her name is. I don't care. Play dirty. Stop playing nice. I don't like
Aisha.
Sorry.
I mean, I don't know what's going on with this administration. It's almost like they're operating in fear, from a position of fear instead of a position of power. So afraid that if we go too far to the left, we're going to lose those independents and moderates that we took with us in 2020. And the truth of the matter is that this country is not going to go back to the same two-party system it had in 2008. This Republican Party, the one that people still want to believe exists, is gone. They're not coming back. They don't want to come back. And we're going to see more and more policies that reflect that. As long as we let them, we're basically letting them run us in a direction that goes against what's good for the people. It's like they're only in it for themselves. They're classist, they're racist, they're misogynistic, they're xenophobic, they're homophobic. And the only way to really get rid of a demon like that is to exercise it.
Just to raise a point, you made a brilliant point there, because it's like they don't think that people will go, I'm bailing on both of you. Like, they're so scared that they're playing and nothing's getting done. You get stuff done, people start making money, they will vote for you. But I will tell you, if they continue like this, a lot of us are going to just be like, I can do bad on my own, so why am I going to stay with you? This is like a relationship. If I'm getting beaten every day by a stupid Congress or a Congress that played everybody with Joe Manchin, then why would I stay with the same party? I would vote green. I'd throw the vote away, because the reality is, here we go. Because let's be honest, Germany is having their vote election tomorrow. And it's going to be very interesting, because the Green Party had that chick. She was up a few months back, totally tanked. No, there are no great candidates at all. And what are people saying? They're doing that. Just what I just said, like, well, maybe I'm just going to, vote for, I'll try green this time. People who actually were CDU are now going green. I mean, this just because, for the hell of it. And so the Biden administration, he better go and find the weak links in that fence and get rid of them, because that's wrong. He's letting the states just run all over him. And it's embarrassing too.
But ladies, I want to come back to this whole immigration thing. The former president couldn't get it right. This president isn't getting it right. What's the solution?
Because they're in the pockets of the corporations, Dr. Vide. That's what it is. If they weren't, they'd have the cojones to make a move. They're bought and paid for. And they're just cherry picking what stock they could lose. Maybe I don't need to have, Tesla anymore. I mean, they're in there. They're in the game. This is their game. But I got news for them. They will be very disappointed if they don't snap the hell out of it. That's my take.
I mean, this immigration issue, it's been a political platform issue since before I was born. So I don't think it's anything that's going to be resolved as long as we have a minority majority in politics. And when I say minority, we now know that the census says that there are more people of color, in this country by 2030.
Right.
It will be the majority. So we're going to be under a minority, rule, basically, unless we do something. And the more people of color that come to this country for citizenship, the more we're going to turn them away, because the numbers of white people are going down, and that is a fact. I was looking at when Jill sent that article about Elise Stefanik earlier, and this whole, what is it, erasure, replacement theory. That's what this issue is really about. That's why we can't solve immigration, because it's always, so-and-so wants to replace us. They want to take our jobs. They want to take welfare. They're going to get free welfare, free healthcare that you cannot get. And it's just this, it's the same thing.
But then Geraldo Rivera came out the other day and was talking about how Cuban immigrants are just snatched up by Florida because they know that they primarily will vote for the GOP. And they've already made this assumption that Haitians are going to be Democrats. How do they know? Why do they assign these tropes to different people? But here's the thing. If they were going to vote, then we didn't get our people. And anyway, most immigrants, you have a green card, you're not voting. You're not voting. Maybe later you will, but it's not going to change anything, because if the Republican Party continues to be the way it is, they're not going to have a party, people that want to be in it. And that goes the same for Democrats. There will be a huge shift. We just have to find the best people who are counter, or who want to, expand. Because I was going to say that it just feels like there's this really weird veneer that they're putting on. Like, it's, we didn't know. How the hell you don't know? Governor Abbott. If you wake up in the morning and they tell you, like, 60,000 Haitians are under a bridge in Texas, I would fear for their lives immediately. In Texas, Black people under a bridge? Oh no. And the fact that that this president, for some reason, doesn't have, the chutzpah or something to just find a law, any law, come crashing down, do it. You're not ever going to be liked by the other side. Get over that. I don't need a people pleaser for a president. And I don't think people wanted it anyway. That's why Trump got in. Don't play those political games.
Okay, so Chris is saying those beating the refugees in that horrifying video need to be in prison, not on, quote, administrative leave, unquote.
Totally.
This is infuriating. Totally. Black Beauty says, and on top of it, if President Biden spoke at the United Nations while Haitians were being denigrated, whipped by monsters on horseback in Texas, rightfully so our standing and credibility. Yeah, it's not a good look.
Well, his guy in charge, didn't he resign from that post?
Yes, Ambassador Haiti, he has resigned. Yes, he resigned.
And he made a brilliant, beautiful speech about it, and it was cold-blooded. I'm sorry. If I was Joe, I would have been like, I would have fired somebody in my own administration when I got back to the White House. I would have been like, you made me look like I had egg on my face. So
Black Beauty is also saying, and isn't VP Harris father of Caribbean descent? Yep. He is Jamaican, I believe. Horrible, just horrible. What this administration will tolerate.
Yeah. I need Joe Biden's cabinet, because they're a little bit more progressive than he is on some certain issues. They need to have a sit down with him and say, look, bipartisanship is not going to work. You're not going to get it. No. You have two Democratic senators who you can't even get to vote on the Democratic agenda. Okay. You've got some problems here. And, forget this bipartisanship. You have reconciliation at your disposal, and you need to force Chuck Schumer into doing reconciliation on all these issues. Stick everything in that one reconciliation bill. Yeah. Immigration, the mask mandates, everything. Stick everything. Infrastructure, everything. Stick everything.
But it's not going to get through the Senate, though.
But see, reconciliation, they don't need it to get through the Senate.
Okay.
But here's the other thing. They need to put it in terms like this. Just like that dog, Champ, I think it is. Isn't that the little one? And Major passed away. So Champ sounds like such a terror that there ain't going to be no cat. They're never going to be bipartisan because Joe Biden said the other day, I don't think I'm going to be able to have my cat. Why? Because that dog bites people, probably eats cats now. That's how I see bipartisanship. Just, Joe, put it into terms with what you're dreaming of, this utopia. But just get to the reality of it. You're right. It doesn't need to happen, Aisha.
Black Beauty is saying amen to reconciliation and immediately. And Chris is saying, if the Democrats don't get their act together before the midterm elections next year, make no mistake about it, we will be doomed.
Very true.
And there are 10 Senate seats up for re-election?
Constantly that.
And absolutely. And it would be a shame for us to lose the few Democrats that we do have.
And we have a few that can go. The ones who are holding up some of our bills, Democrats who don't like the pharmaceutical bill and voted against it, lowering the costs, they need to go. They need to go. I will personally be sending money to those areas to help vote them out I will for their campaigns, who's running against them.
They also need to slide voting rights into reconciliation as well, because the bottom line is they're playing with Joe Manchin, okay? They're playing with him, letting him think that he can do this bill and get, he's not going to get
If they
anybody.
don't do it, they won't have Black people voting for him anymore, except old people who are ready to die in the Black community. But the young people will not tolerate it. They are standing on shaky ground as it is. I can tell you.
Yeah, this immigration issue.
They better get it together.
It's not looking pretty. I'm sure many of us three have read for the last week. Okay, how come we're letting Afghanis into our country, but we're not letting Haitians into our country?
We let 150,000 Afghanis in.
Because when it comes down to it, the land in Haiti is worthless to us.
Right. And we also left those dogs in Afghanistan and animals, and the animal activists are not happy with them. But they are not very popular at the moment.
So, okay, well, maybe I was going to say what positive things have happened in this administration, but we'll leave that to next week.
I don't know anymore. I don't know if it weighs up against the negative that's coming. Yeah. And they better be careful, because Trump is going to make sure more negative things happen. He will specifically pay for more things to occur, because he knows now where the Achilles heel is in Biden's administration.
But I also want to be clear about something. They had a lot of this too comes from that mess that they had to untangle that Trump left. And it's like, you told us you were going to go in prepared to deal with it, prepared to fix it, right? And now it's like you're letting the mess overwhelm you to the point where it's making it look like this is now your mess.
Yeah, he's like looking like, your dad's new stepmom. At first, she tries so hard, and then, can you hear? And you're just like, you're a brat or whatever. But it's like, then you just end up still. He needs to put his foot down. You can't keep kowtowing to people. And he hasn't really done it. I mean, for real, he needs to chop them off at the knees and cut them, because they're coming for him still. They are not done.
Okay. Well, let's move on. I think immigration seems to be going throughout this administration. So it just depends what group of people, because I didn't hear any pushback about Afghans coming into the country.
Well, we did have a few people who don't want them. And anyway, they're going to torture the hell out of them if they move into their neighborhoods. Don't worry. They're going to get theirs too. It's not It's not all hunky
Only a matter of
dory here.
time. Matter of time. All right, let's move on to our next conversation piece. EU unveils an Indo-Pacific strategy and admits that the U.S. new Caucus alliance came as a surprise. So for those who are not familiar, there was a pact signed by Australia, the United Kingdom, and the U.S., and a part of that pact was that the U.S. is going to be selling Australia some nuclear submarines. France did not like that because France had a contract to sell submarines, non-nuclear submarines, to Australia. And this has caused a little bit of a row with the non-members of this pact. Jill, you brought this to the attention first. We'll let you lead on it.
Well, that you summed it up pretty nicely. France is really mad about it, and they were totally blindsided. And then they pulled their ambassadors from Australia and from also America and brought them back to France. And so a lot of people don't understand that this trans-Pacific deal that was struck, I guess last year, I think you remember, and it didn't include America. Trump didn't want to be involved in it. Well, it's like 13 nations, 13 are involved. So it sort of wraps around with the Asian community, the Asian
Pacific Rim,
Indonesia, whatever. So also, if you look at it that way, then remember how much France has vested. These are old colonial haunts for them. Indonesia, they had this whole region. So in fact, French citizens and French entities or still companies are there for long periods of years. That region is their trade region, and they will benefit probably the most in so many ways with this deal. However, the Chinese, we know, have been lurking around in waters, and they're taking advantage of the fact that, they can kind of just swimmingly swim, whatever, and with this trade situation. So the thing is, Macron believes in a more multilateral, free, open, with no borders. It's not inclusive border of going through there. And no one else does, like America doesn't. That's why they couldn't bring, America didn't have allies who thought that way other than Australia and the UK. But now they also cut out New Zealand, which is really bizarre too. It's kind of wild how New Zealand wasn't included, but who knows what kind of conversations were going on. America was cut out of it, so it had to figure out a way to get in there. And now that Britain doesn't have any real allegiance to France or anything because it did Brexit, they need that kind of community and protection or whatever they're doing to sort of build a kind of ally kind of thing, just to get in the mix of this trade, because you're looking at a lot of trade money that's going to go through. So France is not happy. They're not happy because it taps into a lot of their economic things. And you also have this thing with the submarines. So I'm sure they'll get over it and they'll all figure out how to make money for each other. But it was definitely a step. But then remember that France has also been straddling the fence with a lot of the countries. France has been dealing with China and different things. So it's tough.
Aisha, your thoughts?
Well, I didn't know much about this subject until tonight, anyway, and
okay, no problem.
You sharing it. But it seems to me that if our goal is to rebuild bridges with our allies, this doesn't seem like it's a correct way to go about doing that. Those bridges that were burned under the Trump administration, it just doesn't seem like it's going to get us to that point.
But it was too late for them to get in on that deal because Trump let it go.
Right.
And, everybody was just like screaming and pulling their hair out. Like, how the hell are we not involved somehow? We have our own Pacific regions and, not included. So we got cut out, and they just found a way to be disruptors in this, just to have a taste. because remember, England wasn't in the game either.
But you know what? I'm going to make a statement and tell me if this is true or not. Isn't the United States at war with China?
Joe said he didn't want another Cold War.
Yeah, but there's an economic war between China and the United States. And let's be real, Chinese aggression is happening around the world. Like Chinese own Africa. They own Africa, right?
They do.
They're part of the United States as well. I mean, we're so indebted to them.
Right. So this, to me, I think the United States is at war with China. I think that's part of the reason why they want this and not lions, because there's a number of unclaimed areas of the Pacific region that China has claimed.
Totally. And so much for the patriots here in America, because they come and offer you a lot of money for your house. You're the first person to pack up and take that money and go. That's another thing that we're dealing with in every urban city. They are buying the lot.
Yeah.
Hedge funds, corporations don't have an allegiance, and neither do many of the citizens.
Right. Because I just think that America is at war, though it isn't an arms.
It's definitely a war.
It's a war. It's not, there's not guns, but it's economic guns. Mm-hmm. But, looking from where I'd say to go, like earlier on this week, was it on Monday? The stock market took a huge dive. Why? Because some corporation in China was concerned about not being able to pay back their loans.
Right.
I'm going, wow, that much influence on the stock market. This company that no one has heard, like the average person has never heard of in China, can bring down the world economy.
Well, yeah. I mean, so much of our economy is tied to China. You look at all the goods and products, and even down to the services that are in this country, they're coming from China. And so when we're talking about things like unions, for example, this is why they are so important, because it is keeping us from being able to have economic autonomy. And that's a big problem.
Yeah, I think it's... Go ahead, Jill. Sorry.
I mean, they're tearing down buildings in China as well. Newly built ones. They have too much inventory. I saw a whole slew of buildings getting mowed down the other day. Seriously. So we are definitely standing on the precipice of something, and everybody's just shoring up their reserves, and it may not be Army reserves, but it's definitely, like you said, there is something going on. There's a war. Absolutely. And I think that the Biden administration had to make a move on the chessboard. It was like, even I understand they were cut out. And if they didn't do something or find a way to tag on to something where they're going to get a taste of what's coming through that region, that wasn't going to be pleasant.
All right. Well, let's move on to our next conversation piece. And this one is another one that's making me shake my head. The breakdown of police reform talks in the U.S. Congress. Why can't the parties agree on this?
Well, Cory Booker announced this, I believe it was yesterday, that the talks have broken down. As long as we have a political party that is steeped in white nationalism, there's not going to be any kind of discussion, because we're talking about protecting people of color. We're talking about protecting poor people. We're talking about protecting women, and the people who are in power don't want that. I mean, when you think about it, this Republican Party is so white, it's so male, it's so heterosexual, it's so Christian that everyone else is an other.
What they need to do is start that bill to make churches pay taxes.
Yeah. The other side of this is that this, again, something else to be put into reconciliation. They've got one reconciliation, they need to throw everything except the kitchen sink in there, because otherwise, if they have to rely on the process going to the House, then to the Senate, then back to the House, the Biden administration is never going to get anything passed.
No.
And this police reform bill is very, very important, because we can't let local jurisdictions do this anymore because they're killing too many people. There has to be some kind of federal oversight.
I really don't have anything to add to that because it's completely foul to me. And it's one thing that has really soured me on Congress and why I stopped donating money to them.
I don't get it. Why can't, like,
they can't do anything? What have they done? Actually, I don't even know what they gave. What did we get a couple months back? Some money, $1,200
like
or something.
If you were watching
That's long
live,
gone.
no, if you're watching live on the replay, I just put a story up on the NBC News site and I showed it. Congress has given up on police reform. Both sides agreed they missed the moment. Well, if they agreed they missed the moment, why can't they agree on something?
That's just bullshit. They said they missed the moment. Wow.
They missed. Well, here's the thing. They did miss a moment, but it's not the moment that they think it is. It's like they think that we should have done this last year. But no, but even if they were going to do it last year, they had a president who wasn't going to sign that bill.
Yeah, that's true. But they're also going to tell us when they don't prosecute any of the people who in Congress who were involved in the insurrection, they missed that moment too. They are building up something really bad in this country. There are people that will lose their minds, and it will be from the left this time. It's not going to just be the right, because the left is going to lose it. You cannot keep dogging people down. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and the other part of it too is that
so horrible.
Is that we have to remember that money is tied to this police reform.
Mm-hmm.
Of course it is.
And if that means spending any money on doing something that's right, they're not going to do it. And then you have people on the right claiming, oh, well, what about the debt ceiling? Well, guess what? What about people's lives?
You've just proven why the states have too much power. That's why nothing gets done in the states, because now we know for a fact when money gets sent to them from the feds, the Republicans, particularly in their states, they steal it. And the Democrats put it into some really crazy, concept too. They probably steal too. But now we know why the homeless are on the street. And it's not just California people. Whoever's watching this, grow up. It's everywhere in America. And ever since I've been a child.
Okay.
And none of y'all cared about it then.
One other thing too is that there was abuse. There were a lot of abuses when it came to the earmarks that members of Congress were getting, but you kind of want them to bring that back because they can fix certain things with these earmarks.
You've said that before.
Every congressional member is guaranteed a certain number of earmarks and can get that money to do whatever they want done that their constituents want them to do. And, in a way, I'm like, bring it back.
What constituents, though? The rich ones?
No.
Not the poor of them.
No, the constituents that actually voted them in. But
they don't do anything. They don't do anything. And when they do, it's at a snail's pace. I'm so through with them. The checks and balances in this country, it's really, really bad.
The earmarks would be the only way that they could get the transportation and infrastructure bill passed had they had that. Because
Buttigieg has a baby now. He's playing house. He ain't even thinking about it. He and his twins. I haven't seen him since. What did he go on, paternity leave or something? He probably did.
Actually, he was he spoke at a conference that I was at. Well, virtual conference on Tuesday on climate change.
I'm expecting to see him with his, pouch and the baby and sarong in the front. It's like, I know they put on this whole veneer, this guise that they're so progressive and this is who we are. But at the end of the day, every single bloody person that's in those houses in Congress, it has a roof over their head and their bills are being paid.
And who are paying their bills?
And we are paying their bills.
Okay, just want to make that. I want people to recognize.
So in my mind, none of them are worth shit.
If congressional salaries looked like the salaries of state senators and state reps, Well, no, if they look like the salaries of state reps and state senators,
$7,000
they would
a
definitely
year.
be a lot. They would definitely act a lot different. So you're talking like a $15,000-$20,000 salary as opposed to $180,000.
Yeah, and who takes those little low-paying jobs for $7,000 a year? Their children, rich people's kids, because they can support them while they're building their political careers. Because I don't know anybody who can live on $7,000 a year. And if they did, what are these people getting food stamps?
Well, most of them have to have a regular full-time job. Their job as a member of a state legislature isn't their only job.
And why would you want somebody who's got such a big job as a state legislature to split their mind, their thinking, their everything? What is that, like a 25%er? I'm sorry. The thing is just backwards to me.
Let's move on. Well, so the first half of our conversation this evening will be about politics, and the second half will be non-politics. So we got some more political fodder to discuss. Next up, the 45 subpoenas. Is it going to happen? The January 6th committee subpoenas 45 aides and allies to testify. Will we see them testify?
I think we'll see them go to jail for not responding to those subpoenas. I think Steve Bannon would rather go to jail than to have to deal with any of this.
Mm-hmm.
Do we feel that we'll see any of these individuals testify?
No.
Mark Meadows might, because when you sit and you think and you really think about it, Mark Meadows actually, like I told my was it you I told Jill, or maybe it was you or somebody else. I said, well, Mark Meadows actually likes his family. He doesn't want to go to jail for anybody or anything. I think that he would be one of the first to roll and talk.
But can they legitimately put them in jail or no? And for how many days? I mean, see, they're not going to do it. They won't. They'll take jail. They won't. It's cheap. You know, sometimes when you heard that song, It's Cheaper to Keep Her, it's got the same kind of process of like, I'll go in for 6 days, and they're not going to jail. They're going to a Fed jail. And it's not like, throw them in the real slammer. But they won't. I don't think they will. And I don't think any of them are going to serve time in jail. This is all nonsense. They can't even, this is nonsense. They at least deliver something. They're breadcrumbing us too. And it's really sickening to be breadcrumbed.
So Black Beauty is saying, I think they'll plead the Fifth Amendment if applicable.
Yeah, I think so.
But I think if anybody would roll or make a deal of some sort, it would be Mark Meadows of that gang of four.
What
social circle next week.
But what benefit would he for him if he rolls?
He might actually be able to have some semblance of a career somewhere else afterwards, because right now he's not doing anything.
He's waiting for a certain ex-president to come back and run.
Exactly, he is. And I just don't think that of the four people that they named, he seems like the weakest link.
Well,
we'll see.
Like I don't know. So Chris is saying one thing comforts me on the 45 subpoena subject: that disheveled, gross, arrogant, looking like a leftover booze bag Bannon may very well up in jail.
Not booze bag. Oh, I love it. That's funny. Yeah. He said booze bag, not booze bag.
And Chris
he
also
does look like it.
Yeah, Steve Bannon looks like life beat his ass.
Yeah, and we've all known a doughy kind of, rash looking alcoholic, and with peeling skin.
So he also, Chris also says, Jill, you are right. I think I've been thinking the same thing for quite some time. Something is brewing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll know. Well, we might know. We might not know. Whatever some of those insurrectionists are planning after tonight's rally.
Well, they need to give us, you know, the Biden administration, what we want to see, people being dragged down in handcuffs. We want to see, we deserve it. We deserve to see the walk of shame. Give us that at least, because, and they don't care. They'll still be talking. But the thing is, we want to see some kind of justice, because it will quell any more fears that we all feel, how easy it seems to be to take over this country.
Well, you know, it's not just that we deserve to see the walk of shame. Also, you want it done as a warning to anyone else.
I want it to be like the Untouchables movie with Kevin Costner.
No, I mean, I get that. You want it to be a walk of shame, but it also should also serve as a warning to other people. For example, a couple days ago, this was last weekend, a bumblebee was trying to get at me, and I caught it in a jar. And then I left the jar on my table, my little table outside of my balcony, as a warning to other bumblebees. I want to be in that area.
Oh, you let him die. I would let him go.
That's what we need to have happen when they start carting these people off to jail. Make it very public, like interrupt the news, interrupt the day with breaking news, and just film it.
I'm just getting a feeling that, they don't care. I really, because somewhere along the way, they're also long in the tooth, all these old men. They know each other from around the way for a long time. They're all complicit somehow on some level, and, it's just, you got to be dirty, I guess, to be in politics somewhere. Okay. And if you're not, they're going to dirty you up.
Yeah. Oh, so Chris is saying, let me just put up his comment here. Speaking of subpoenas, right? Letitia James has been pretty quiet lately. What's up there?
Exactly.
I know.
Considering that they stopped the ban, a federal judge blocked where teachers have to have the shots, and the immunization.
Chris is also saying, booze bag, Jill. Say it, booze bag.
Booze bag. That is the best word. That's like word of the week. And you know what, Chris, you're probably going to hear me saying it a lot. Oh, booze bag. Oh my God, it's really it's worse than a swear word. You call somebody a booze bag? Like, what you call me? It's like, I'd rather be called the B word than a booze bag. Oh yeah, that's genius.
Oh my goodness, that's hilarious. All right, let's move on to our next conversation topic. AOC cries after Democrats thwart the SWAT attempt to defund the Israel's Iron Dome. Another one story that Jill brought up that I didn't even know about.
Well, and Aisha has alerted me that she sort of split with the squad on the vote, but she ended up saying present, right?
Yeah, she said present instead of voting yay or nay.
And it just, some people have been dragging her all weekend because they're saying, oh, those were crocodile tears and this and that. And so she made her first real leap from being with the women. And I was talking to someone, a friend, and one of my relatives, and I have to say, you will always have to split with someone in politics. So you can't be going in there like, you're all like sisters. It's not going to happen because of your different constituencies. And let's be honest, we heard like silent. It was like this when Ilhan Omar never said a word about what was going on in Texas, and it took her 2 or 3 days to craft something that in support of women without saying she was really with the whole abortion thing. I'm sorry. It's like growing up is hard, AOC.
Oh my! But I think Jill's just gonna amplify for the rest of this show after the booze bag.
She's not stupid. She knows she has to align too.
She knows who her constituents are, and she know one of the things that she does know is that she had a lot of support from Jewish people.
Totally.
Yes, and so this is not something that she could, in good conscience, vote against.
And it's true. Why can't they just all come together without, I mean, I get it. There has to be some kind of, we should be at a level. It's 2021. It's like, get everybody on board and get rid of this resentment. I mean, you can't do that. We have American people. I'm just not even going to say their religion or their faith or their creed or whatever, they're Jewish, but this, and then we have Black people. No one can get any freaking respect in this place. Damn, it's a lot, but you've got to give sometimes to get. And unfortunately, or fortunately, she had to make her way, tracks in the snow. And we shall see, because she's not stupid.
No.
Up for re-election next year.
Yes, she is.
Okay, we're beginning to understand a little bit more why that came about. So, yeah, because she is a very prominent member of the Democratic Party. So she is our eyes under watch. So before we go to
have a lot of contenders too, and she's going to be primaried without a doubt. So she needs those dollars.
I agree.
From all those constituents that she has, to even just survive a primary.
Yeah.
Black Beauty saying, right on, Jill. Right on. Okay. This is good stuff. So we are going to take a break. As I said, the first part of our conversation today was going to be the political stuff. And we're going to take a bit of a break. And then we're going to talk media stuff, Chris Cuomo, and also some recollections of Melvin Van Peebles. We lost him, and a great, great individual. So hold tight.
I've got a great story.
You do?
Mm-hmm. Kind of, yeah. Two. Kind of, yeah. How funny life is.
Yeah, well, I'm glad we're going to pay him some homage. So, folks, stay tight. We'll be back in just a moment. Go. So, ladies, what is going on?
Just that he needs to get it together.
Sick of that. I am sick of it.
Something is seriously wrong with you.
Is that, I mean, why is he still there?
She shouldn't be near Congress.
You need an exorcism, because I don't know what is wrong with you people.
It was so powerful.
And I really wish everybody would stop bowing down to this.
What is he talking about? This makes no sense.
They know they are not the oppressed party, but they love being the superior ones, and they want to flaunt it.
So it was always made political, particularly for people of color and the LGBTQ population.
We end off every episode with a cockroach. This episode's cockroach.
Everything.
Everything?
All the things are going on.
All the things?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we are back. State of Things with Aisha and Jill, broadcasting live September 25th. As always, thank you for everyone watching live. And we're broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter tonight. So 4 different platforms to catch everything that's going on in the world as we see it.
You know who used to say good stuff?
Who?
Cary Grant. His daughter even wrote a book, and it's called Good Stuff.
Okay.
Great book. It's a wonderful book, by the way.
All right. Well, this is good.
And he always said good stuff.
Well, I don't know if
I love Cary Grant.
Well, I don't know if I'm as suave and debonair as Cary. No. Oh, thank you, darling. Thank you, darling. Thank you, darling. So
It's
sweet.
nice to be called darling.
Yes, darling. But well, see, some people wouldn't like that these days.
Oh, call me a darling. I love it. I just love it.
All right. Okay. Well, let's. Well, interesting. We're talking about a subject like this. Our next conversation topic: the media overlooks missing Black, Hispanic, Indigenous, and Asian women. Aisha, you wanted to bring this up tonight, so talk to us on this.
Well, I can't remember her last name, but Gabby, the young lady who was missing.
Petito.
Yeah. She, it was all over the news, and rightfully so. We want to find missing people. It's just that there are numbers and numbers of Black, Latino, Asian, Native American women who are missing as well. And they rarely get news coverage ever outside of our own media. And this, as we were talking about this in the news, what comes to light now is people are like wondering, where is singer Kelly Price? Because her family hasn't seen her in a month. And, she's a celebrity and got no coverage.
Yeah.
I think part of the concern, and I know we talk about the control of media. And I think, again, the individuals who are making the final say on what gets out there hasn't changed. At the end of the day, the person at the top still looks the same.
Yeah.
Like the people below, there may be some change, but at the top.
But I think there's also proof that ratings are lower.
Yeah.
Ratings are lower when you start doing this. Unfortunately, that's America. And unfortunately, America is like, well, it's anybody's, who cares? Change the channel.
Well, Jill, I'll piggyback on that. It's also, I'm in Canada. It's the same way here too.
It just says a lot about the people here.
Right. I'm pushing the Canadian government to say, look, you gotta do something different, man. You gotta have, you gotta change. Like we in Canada have something like you have in the United States, PBS. We have the CBC.
It too. I love PBS.
Yeah, PBS, and it is wonderful. And at least I can say, at least they have made a concerted effort to change up things. And we have in Canada, we have the CBC, which is public funded corporation. They have made changes, but we still have a long way to go, and especially with the media outlets.
Well, it's a real chain reaction, and not to cut you off, but this is how it's all interwoven here. So they're driven by is just money, just the economics and ratings. Yep. And Trump knew that. He knew how to serve them. He knew how to deliver to them. He gave them what they wanted that superseded anything else in the world to them. The other thing, that's just reality, because it's capitalism. This is it. Right. But we have this horrible thing here where we can't keep asking people to care when they don't care. But where it starts and stops is to, people, you've got to have accurate news being put out. We have an FCC that has a policy about lying, but no laws. So if there's anything Congress needs to be working on, is actual laws about telling the news factual and actual. We don't have it. So the chain reaction comes here. They already put women in these stereotypical tropes, indigenous, Black women, Asian, they have it, from Susie Wong to the sister on the street corner. That's how they still see, it's really absolutely horrendous. And it all starts from everything, our movies, our TV shows, our films. Maybe we don't need to be making jokes about ourselves at this point, because they take it and run with it. They run with it. And then next thing you know, that's their new thing to come down on us. They do not pay attention to children and men or women or trans women who have been killed. They said the young man who was the engineer, his body was found in a river. Daniel, I think it's Daniel. And his body was found in a river. Now, granted, I hadn't heard about this, but Dr. Vibe, you're right. It's like we have agencies here that have no agency. And all the shows are formatted the same. You can change a channel, and they've all tried to say it's because of this one network. No, they're all the same. They all go to commercials at the same time. They all basically start talking about the same thing at the same time. It's like, and they're not even connected as far as, the same network. So they all have the same format. So imagine the same people that get rotated through the business, just going from ABC, NBC, CBS, and maybe Fox. Where else are they going to go? Where are they going to go? Well, it's the same format. You get a producer. It's not to be anything new. No shakeups.
Well,
they don't.
We're not in a position anymore where there are independently owned news stations, TV stations.
Distribution.
Everything's owned by corporate. So you have something like Comcast owning a certain swath of television, cable television stations, and was it Clear Communications or something like that, and they own all these local TV stations. And so what you see on like a Fox News affiliate in Alabama is the same thing, Birmingham, Alabama is the same thing you're going to see on a Fox affiliate in Hamden, Connecticut, which is where I am. Sure. And it's the same thing with ABC, NBC. All the major affiliates are all owned by a larger corporation, and so there isn't any opportunity for programming directors to even be lenient when it comes to local stories. They have to follow the cookie cutter pattern.
It's interesting because many years ago there was a term called convergence in the media, where all the little guys were getting swallowed up, and and that was before the digital craze. So now we're into round 2 of convergence, because the traditional media that's been there forever is realizing, you know what, we ain't making as much money with traditional media. We got to own all the digital properties.
But we also need to address social media on this too. Yeah. We saw a lot being pushed our way about Gabby Petito, but let's be honest. And I really do think that social media platforms need to be held accountable for even the spread of the conspiracy and COVID and to all this incitement of just, I don't know, craziness, because they have the algorithms. There are people that actually do not. I have sat with people and searched at the same time on different, what do you get? What do I get?
It's never the same. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so they should be held accountable for that, because I get that you may have taste for music, food, dresses, but as what comes out from the pub about our government and what we need to know, just certain things that are facts and laws. Why do they get to play around with that and send different algorithms and different feeds and misinformation to those people? To me, that's traitorous.
And I know what you mean about the algorithms, because I want to know how come every time I go to Google something, Google knows what's in my head and will put it up there.
And they're breaking rules listening to you too.
Yeah.
And we know that.
Chris is saying, oh man, I was standing and applauding Joy Reid this week when she covered this topic. Quote, the focus is always on blonde-haired, blue-eyed white women, unquote. She was right. And this is totally messed up. Kelly Price has been missing for about 1 week with bare bones minimal media coverage.
Jesus. Yeah.
Right.
It is horrific.
Right. And it's, there's something there with the Kelly Price situation that's odd, because everyone's saying that Kelly's okay, except for her family and Kelly. Her attorney came out and said that she was fine.
Well, I think it's...
Oh, he did.
He did, yes. But her boyfriend has, been acting a little strange, very similar to the Gabby case.
Yeah.
And I think, getting back to our main conversation topic in this segment, overlooking missing Black, Hispanic, Indigenous, Asian women, but you sure see enough of them in the front of the camera.
Absolutely. Because they have a serial killer near the Sioux Nation. Okay. There have been for years, the Indigenous women have been killed and going missing. And really, that tells me it's someone local. I just sit down and go, who's been here this damn long? Because that's who it is, because it's someone local. And they've done nothing. And here's the other thing. We as people aren't helping them to help this, because we just pass it by. I know there's so much we have coming at us, but we really could do more as people.
It's interesting. So I'm just going deeper into this article that I put up on the screen. It says currently there are 51 Black women missing in Chicago. 51.
That they know of.
Exactly.
Not to mention the ones that haven't been reported yet.
Right.
And the cold cases.
That's just... And who's looking for them?
Nobody.
It just vanished.
No one.
The same people are trying to figure out who killed Malcolm X.
Mm.
No one.
You know, it's, you know, where's the, in this article, there's someone saying, where's the outrage? Where's the commitment? Where's the press conference from law enforcement and city officials to say, we're going to find the roots of this?
Well, when the young man that Jill brought up, Daniel, they kept telling his parents he's a grown man. He doesn't have to communicate.
Right.
Even though they found his truck like overturned with all his stuff in it.
Right.
His ID.
So going, I'm just reading out of the same article. I want to get your ladies' feedback on this. In Father Michael Flager, I hope you'll get his last name right, a Chicago area anti-violence activist recently noted, quote, "The value of your life depends on your race and your color," unquote.
Yeah.
And how much money you have.
Yeah.
And how much money you have. I mean, if you're Black and you're really rich, they'll look around. But if you're poor and Black or poor and Mexican or poor and Asian, you know, poor and Indigenous, But if you have money or you're a celebrity, oh my gosh. But although Kelly Price, she wasn't famous enough for that. I mean, it's disgusting.
Jen is saying the media is a mess. I didn't even hear about Kelly until I saw it on Facebook. Why
Me
not on
too.
regular news?
Yeah.
Absolutely horrific.
Me too. Yesterday, I hadn't heard about it before. I was like, oh my God.
Crazy. In light of that story, here's another story that we were bringing up. A former ABC News executive says Chris Cuomo sexually harassed her at a party in 2005.
Now, the caveat to this is that after it happened, Chris Cuomo emailed her an apology, which she also shared in this New York Times op-ed.
It was to her husband. The apology was to her husband.
Right. And she writes this op-ed and she makes the point of saying, "I'm not trying to get him fired. I hope he lasts long and has a long, illustrious career at CNN." My question is then why?
I agree. She's just
if it happened and then there was the apology and things were dealt with in 2005, why? And why now, after his brother had to deal with those issues? Is that the reason why? You could have said this last year.
It's revenge, and somebody put her up to it, and somebody paid her some money to come out with her story. It's pretty obvious. Because why would you want that scrutiny on you anyway? I hope she's ready to retire, or she'll probably write a book. And really, I mean, he touched her butt. I've had really, girl, get on the subway. I can't handle these women.
I know you
because it's incredibly manipulative to say that. I don't like people when they go, well, I really don't want to do this. Don't ever start something with me about, I don't want to say this. Then don't say it, because you just said you don't want to. Don't say it. And I hope he has an illustrious career. You just tanked him. You just shanked him, basically. For what?
I felt like Cardi B. What was the reason?
So Black Beauty.
I gotta see her butt now, because I'm like, I want to see what he risked his whole career on. It better be good.
Black Beauty. Chris Cuomo's a target, if you ask me, and it's pathetic and sad. Jen is saying, exactly, Aisha. Why is she bringing it up now?
That's ridiculous. What is she? She was his boss too.
Mm-hmm.
How old is she?
Well, here's the thing, and he must have. I guess he was no longer she was no longer his boss at the time this happened. I guess he was leaving ABC at that point. But my thing is this: what kind of relationship did you have that made him feel comfortable enough to even do that?
What kind of drug paraphernalia did they have on the table when all this crap was going on? Because it just does something sounds weird too. Like, what were they doing? I'm sorry. I think it's really weird. It just sounds very strange.
And remember,
where was her husband's email back? What'd he say?
And remember, too, Chris was also his brother's attorney. And so you have to wonder, like, are they picking them out? You know, it's just bizarre.
I have a feeling everybody was a little drunk. I already kind of have a feeling, you know. It's
well,
not like he groped her.
I'd like to know again. We always say follow the money trail.
Exactly. I mean, these are grown-ass women after all, and they're all walking around like they can't manage how to get out of the subway or how to get in the elevator. And he looked at me. Oh my God. I'm sick of it. It's like, bitch, get a life. You know, because wait a minute, we're not teaching everyone how to be accountable. There are times you need to reflect in your life and see what you know, I'm not talking about rape by your mom, or your dad or whoever. I'm talking about in these corporate areas, there's a lot of things that people don't communicate very well with each other. And sometimes I just don't think that cancel culture, if they keep on doing it, it's going to be incredibly not a great thing. You can't keep canceling out people for making mistakes. He didn't rape her. And for all I know, yeah, he admitted it. People get drunk, they get high. Something else was going on. And without him, probably he's in a trick bag. He can't really say what brought it on, because then that would just cause even more scrutiny. But these people circulate in the same circles. And now they want us to feel sorry for them. She's got money for therapy. Real women who get abused, raped, assaulted don't.
Right.
Chris is saying, go ahead.
She knows this is going to go somewhere with his job. I mean, that's the other part of it, is that she says, I don't want him to get fired, but you know that releasing this is going to land him in some kind of there will
reprimand.
Be some kind of
but
reprimand.
They brought Jeffrey Toobin back, guys. So
that's true.
You know, I think if that's like, they're tired of it. But either you know, it's just too much for me. I'm just like everybody's a victim. Everybody is a bloody victim. And we have real victims, and they're not even reporting on them.
So Chris is saying, and you know, she was put up to releasing this info.
Absolutely.
She should have taken this up years ago.
I agree.
All right. Well, we're going to end up on a positive note. The world lost another great Melvin Van Peebles, trailblazing director and Black cinema champion. He passed away last week. And I did not know that, Jill, you have a story.
It's not really about him directly. As my mom, I think she had me and I might have told this before in one of our way earlier podcasts long ago, that my mom took me and my cousin to a drive-in to see Sweetback and whatever. And and the first scene came on, and she drove out so fast because, you know, it's this really kind of weird thing with the little boy and the older woman. And it was really, and I remember it, I was like looking like, oh my God, I must have been about 7 or 8. And my cousin, we were like, oh, what the hell? And she drove off so fast in a drive-in that thing stuck in the car. And I remembered, because I was like, goodness. She was flipping out. I was like, and then I remembered my grandmother was like, well, what did you think it was about? You know, like she was like, I didn't think it was going to be that. Like, you know, the first scene.
I would have loved to meet your grandmother. She sounds like she was on point.
I think it was, you know. And then years later, because, you know, he was such an icon in the community. Watermelon Man is one of my favorites. I remember, you know, and definitely I just have always loved that film. And then years later, when I had just gotten signed, I think, to Paisley or something. No, I wasn't signed. I was in the movie Purple Rain. So anyway, driving down the street in Hollywood, it hadn't come out yet. It was still being edited. Nobody knew who I was. I had a purple car. And his son.
Is there any pictures of that purple car?
Somewhere.
Oh, you gotta put one of those out one day for us.
His son Mario was walking down like the street, Hollywood Boulevard, because he was in town filming, but he was looking for a hotel. But I never knew him, and he was so friendly, like, "Hey," with one of my best friends, like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "You need a ride?" Things were just so like, and he was so good looking. And my friend and I drove him to his hotel. And then he said he was Mario Peebles, and I was like, "Oh my God! Oh, that's And he was such a sweetheart too. So yeah, those are my two connecting stories.
Aisha, any words about Melvin Van Peebles?
Just I remember in the 90s when the 70s started to resurface again and people started to get into the blaxploitation films, that me and my sisters sat and watched all of his movies because they were part of all the blaxploitation films that we were going to watch that summer. Mm-hmm. And one of my favorite episodes of Living Single is with him and Mario both competing for Regine. She's dating both the father and the son.
Oh
yes,
I love that episode.
Yes,
so true. Wow.
Yeah,
that is.
And
wonderful.
I think he raised some great kids.
Yes.
He could. They just speak so highly of their father, and he was incredibly brilliant, man.
Yes. Landmark family. So Black Beauty is saying LMAO with the story you shared, Jill. Chris is saying RIP, Mr. Van Peebles. Black Beauty saying, Jill, was that the twin drive-in?
Yes, it was the twin. Yes, it was the twin drive-in. Yes.
Where is that located?
Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. I was just like, and my cousin Lisa, we were like, mm-hmm.
The Black Beauty. Thanks for pulling up that trivia. The twin drive-in. Wow.
Wait, Black Beauty, was it you or was it Lisa who was with me when we went to that movie?
Well, I'm sure she's gonna comment as we start closing it down. That's hilarious. So Black Beauty, how did you know that? You gotta tell us what's going on. So, folks, that is another epic conversation. We call it State of Things with Aisha and Jill, and we always love doing it. We are doing it. Well, I think the answer has come up here.
I think it was you.
Yeah, she goes. I think it was
you. We'll talk about this on the side. I was like,
oh wow,
that was crazy. Uh-huh.
Chris is saying, thank you so much, Dr. Vibe, Aisha, and Jill. Blessings to you. Have a happy and peaceful week ahead. Right back at you, Chris. Right back. Thanks to everybody tonight. Chris, Black Beauty, Jen.
Thanks, Jen.
As always. Thanks.
And Cinema's been quiet.
Yeah, Cinema didn't say too much. She was the first. She was in the room before we even got started. So,
Yeah.
And more trivia. And our Aunt Winnie was fun. Remember the cork shoes? My mom.
Yeah. Cork shoes. Oh yeah. She afro. Yeah.
Oh man, there's gotta be some pictures. We gotta see some pictures.
I know. So funny.
That's
knew
hilarious.
I was like, who was with me? But then Aunt Rita would have killed her. If she'd have taken Lisa. I don't even know how she would have told her. Uncle Herbie might have been like, I don't know. We'll talk later. I'll find out.
But she's got to come on because there's some good stories we're missing out on here. There is some good stories we're missing out here. So, as always, when we close up, we ask our dear, dear friends to give their contact information. So, first up, Jill Jones.
Hi, I'm at Jill D. Jones and Jill Jones Music on Instagram and I think on Facebook too.
All right, good stuff. Aisha K. Staggers.
At Aisha Staggers on Twitter and AK Staggers on Instagram. I'm doing better with Instagram.
Yeah, you are.
Happy birthday to you.
Yeah. Happy
My
birthday.
buddy Aisha. We gotta get together. I'm hoping that COVID gets better so we can hang out, man. I was trying to get to New York.
So family, so people are either watching live on the replay, would you like us all to do something together live one day?
Yeah, I want to go horseback riding.
That would be. I don't know if the world's ready for it yet, but who cares?
But I'll come and swing by and pick you up in Connecticut, and we'll drive all the way up to Toronto.
Oh,
Yeah.
if you want to.
I've done that drive before. It's quite
It's
a
not
drive.
that far.
No.
It's not really not that far. You know what? I could actually, if you want, we could, to make it a shorter drive, I could meet you in Montreal because I have relatives in.
Yeah, I mean,
I have relatives that live in Montreal.
it's beautiful.
I was there a few weeks ago. Oh, what an incredible experience!
But I think if my husband goes, he would want to live in Toronto or maybe Montreal. I can't. Either way, as soon as I get him across that border to Canada, he's going to want to be there.
We'll take you. We'll take you. We'll take you. We'll take you. And then,
then we'll work. But I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
All right, folks. We're going to start shutting it down. It's Dr. Vibe here. I'm host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, the home of Epic Conversations. I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2020 Best Podcast News Award, 2018 Innovation Award given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. And also I host the only online show in the world for fathers and dads that is sponsored by Dove Men Care. It's also co-sponsored by Dad Central, Canada's national fatherhood organization. The best place to get a hold of me is on your screen if you're watching, and I'll tell you verbally, VIBESHOW.com. Also, I am the board chair for the Global Food and Drink Initiative, which is a multimedia not-for-profit that showcases Blacks in the diaspora that are doing their thing in food, wine, and travel. Close out like this always. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. Block assumptions, then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Remember to give yourself grace. I'm going to add a new one every once in a while. Be you. They'll adjust. God bless. Peace be well. Keep the faith. And we really appreciate you walking and all your support. And we'll be back next Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern time. And if we're not live, we'll always at least show a replay. So just lock it in at 9 p.m. going forward on Saturday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern time till further notice. You'll have us most of the time live, maybe once a time on a replay, but we'll be there for you. Be well.